Greetings Internet, welcome to Aaron Plays and I hope you're doing fantastically well. This will be turn 5 of my playthrough of scenario 20 from Ghost Panzer, which is called the Bloody Triangle. This is an opposed playthrough against Pierre. So we've done turns 1 to 4, which are in previous videos. This is actually quite a bit later in the sense that I recorded those turns 1 to 3 in one video, turns 4 in another video, but they were about a month ago, if not 2 months ago. So I thought I'd like to complete things. I'm a bit of a completist, so I want to complete this scenario. We're actually at the present moment, as I'm recording this, playing scenario 69, which is from the latest Stalin's Favorites, or Favorite, yeah, whichever. Okay, so that's what we're up to at the present moment, but I thought I still need to bring this. I didn't need to, but I wanted to. So I'm going to go right the way through turn 5 of my normal thing, using the log files and narrating what was going on. There'll be a little bit of back and forth because of the way log files work, but I'll try to minimize that as much as possible by the use of the pause button. Yay! Anyway, let's go down the map and see what is going on. Okay, just a brief recap what's happening here. What's the victory conditions? The Germans, played by Pierre, need to clear this village completely. So on this board, I think it's board 18, yeah, can be no Soviet infantry. Soviet tanks doesn't matter, but no Soviet infantry by the end of the scenario, which, if I bring up the scenario card, is a total of 9 turns long. And as I say, this is turn 5. Okay, so that's what he needs to do. We've got some Soviet tanks at the top here. He's got a Panzer IV down here, an 88 and a pack 37mm over there. We've got some Soviet infantry trying to reinforce into the village. So this is a definite case of quantity, the Soviets, myself, with the quantity against quality, the Germans, by Pierre. So we're going to skip through the log. Now, the very first thing that happens in turn, I, as the player who's not going first, does have the option to spend a command point to do something with one unit before he can do something. I declined that offer, so he's starting with his Panzer IV, I believe, from memory. There we go. Panzer IV takes aim. This chap. Okay, and he's aiming at my, what is that one? That's a T-26. That's quite an easy target, isn't it? So he needs to roll a proficiency check. Okay. Now, obviously using Vassal for the log, but we're using Axe, which is the Warhorse simulation dice, because I personally don't like Vassal dice. And that's what, well, that's the main reason. So yeah, we're using Axe die roll. So his tank's marked as used. My tank here, he has knocked it out. He just removes it before actually revealing. Right, so the proficiency is 8. Range makes it -1, because that's the proficiency on the vehicle is 8. So if you can see that down the bottom there, that's the bottom right-hand number. So he has to roll equal to less than that because it's beyond a range of 5 hexes. Gets a moving target, which is -1, equals a 6. So that's what he needs to roll to be able to take the shot. And he does, he rolled a 3. So that allowed the shot. Then the firepower 7. So you again look at this time the numbers on the right of the corner, left. He's got a fire value of 7 against armored targets and fire value of 10 against non-armored targets, because this is a short barreled 75mm gun. It's not that effective against armor, and it's more effective against infantry. However, he's hitting the side armor, though I actually disagree with that. But it doesn't really matter this much, because that tank had a, well, he's taken the tank off, hasn't he? So let me bring it back. Come back. Oh, where's he taking it? He just eliminated it. Oh well. If I bring up the scenario card, there we go. T-26, oh, there it is, has only got a side, it's the 2 numbers underneath the 7 and 8. It's the 2 and 1. It's got a front armor of 2 and a side armor of 1. Now the shot was coming through directly on the line, which I think he'd take the best defensive fire. So I think that was a frontal armoured shot, but it doesn't really matter. Firepower 7 minus 2 equals 5. He rolls a 2. So it went straight through anyway, knocking out the tank. That uses 3 of his command points. And yeah, gone. Then he continues with some movement with this squad over here. I've got to remember this squad here. Okay, they move into that building, which costs 2 movement points. He then fires on my weapon team, which the German's firing from there to there, and assault fire if I can. And he's then did he just move there? Yes, he did. Just moved into the building there, and he says assault fire there as well if he can. Same thing here, and so on. And then move my weapons team, which is the one at the top there. Okay. So that's it for that activation of his. Now, what is written there, artillery rolled a 9 for proficiency and is not brought in this turn. So he fired the Mark IV, then he tried for artillery proficiency. It was ineffective. That gave him his 6 activation points. Then he activated 3 squads. So let's see what the consequences of his actions were there. When you see it in the dark blue type, that's what I typed in because he forgot to mention that in his log. Okay. And we're repeating some of the things he's already done. So I'm going to pause here until we've got no repeat. So that fire where he said, I will fire if I can. So his assault fire potential is firepower of 5. That's, again, he's got 6/5 there with the right, with the starburst behind it. The 5 is his proficiency firepower. Okay, -1 for the wooden building equals a 4. He needs a 4. And the roll is a 4, so suppressed fully. So my weapon team is now fully suppressed. Then we move on. So an assault fire if I can. Again, this is where he moved down here. I might have had or have something to say about that because I've got 2 units that can actually fire back. So as I've said here, I will try some op fire first. So, morale check on weapon teams. So before these guys can fire, they have to pass a 6 morale check, as you can see on the counter there. There's 3 levels of morale. Top one is 10, which is when they're fully okay. Then 1 6 is in yellow because they're yellow suppressed. They have to roll 6 or less to be able to fire. If they were fully suppressed, they'll be in the red number, which they would require 2. I know I'm going through the rules again, just in case some of you people have come and joined without seeing the prior episodes. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but yeah, that's how the suppression works. So roll of a 6, they do fire. So they fire with a 5. Now they pass their morale check, they fire at full effect. So if you can see the Soviet units, there's 7/5. They're firing with their proficiency firepower, which is the 5 because it's a op fire rather than during my activation. So fires of the 5 +1 for adjacent. So 6 modified by +3 because you get +3 modifier for being adjacent as well. And -1 for the building is a total of 8. So I've got to score 8 or less to suppress that German. And the roll is a 10. Now, if you've watched the first 4 turns so far, you know that I'm not rolling particularly well. So, as I call him, you lucky. Yeah. Watch Life of Brian. You'll know what I'm going to say next, but I'm not going to say it. Okay. So then mount is used and they're done. However, the squad will fire too. So they've also got these guys that can fire on them as well. And they proficiency firepower of 1. They're not so great. So these are one of the conscript squads. So they've got that little -1, so they're not so good. Fire proficiency of 1, then +3 for adjacent, -1 for wooden building. Okay, and what do they roll? They roll a 1. So finally, I roll well. About time, I say. Which, as you are adjacent, an auto casualty and fully suppressed. So there we go. All right, so actually a decent shot for a change. So now they're fully suppressed. You know, remember he said he would fire if he could. Well, now they actually have to take a morale check to fire, and their morale is only 1. They rolled a 4, so they can't fire. So then he'd pass the turn back to me, and then it's me was saying, let's move some of my infantry. Because I say, I want to reinforce this village. This is still a case of quantity over quality. All right, so little boot print there of him moving. I've got 5 movement points. That's him done. This guy over here, I marked as op fire in case it's necessary to fire at some Germans. And I marked this guy as op fire, which then means I've done some activations. I ended and passed it back. When I passed it back, he activated or marked his 88 for op fire, which I then said, well, that stops any of my tanks coming south, but that would be foolish with an 88 float around. So yeah, me moving my tanks down that way with an 88 down there, yeah, that's asking for trouble. So I activated at that point my T-34, which is this one here. All right, there we go. And I thought that was, oh no, that's the T-32. That's the T-34. Yeah. That's what it's done at turn. So cost 1 to do this facing turn, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to there, 8 to there, 9 to there, 10, 11. Okay, so I hope I'm safe from any troublesome 88s and little pack gun. We'll try for a shot with your squad in the wooden building. Yeah, he needs to roll a 1. Why does he need to roll a 1? Well, his proficiency is 5. That's again the number in the bottom right-hand corner. And you're adding +4 for moving. So Soviet tanks on the move are not great. They need to roll a 1. Now, if you remember on turn 4 where they entered, he did roll a 1 when he targeted the Panzer II. So he received a medal of honor from, well, whatever the Russian equivalent is for doing so. But now he needs to roll a 1 again and needs a 1, rolled an 8. Missed. And then is marked as used. I then declared that the squad in 12C7, this boy how, will fire at adjacent German. This boy how. Firepower 4, so now we're looking, because we're actually firing in our fire phase, we get the number to the left, which is the bigger one, 4. +3 adjacent, -1 wooden building, 4, 5, 6, 7, -1, 6. 6 required. What did I roll? An 8. The poo shooting continues. I said, well, we did get that lucky one down the bottom there, didn't we? But hey-ho. Right, then we had another squad dashing to really help into the village. Okay. That was the end of my operations phase at that point, so passing it back. Pierre makes an observation. The placement of my 88 was catastrophic, let's be honest. Yeah, down here, yeah, he really needed to have it sort of, I don't know, maybe in this area here, because that is really limiting his area of fire. But you never know. I could be foolish and move south, couldn't I? He did make a fire attempt with the pack, the 37mm. What is that? Pack? It's just called pack, whatever. Okay. That's an MTX. He was firing on the T-34 as it trundled past. So basically he missed. With the initiative passed back, he took a shot from here. I think it was to this one. Let's have a look. But it had no effect. And then this infantry moved from there to here, which, right, then assault fire, if I can, need to see if your unit is a decoy force. Because this unit is still concealed, I know we can see it now, that it is an actual unit. He wouldn't have known in this because on his version of the map, that would be it would just say concealed on it. It doesn't show what's underneath it. So he's attempting to fire from that guy to that, but I can intervene here before he does so, just like I did down over here. So do I do so? Let's have a look. I'm back over what he was doing there. That first shot of his there suppressed my unit. Then he moved that unit across. Then I decided we'll try some final fire first. Needs a 1. Roll a 7. Didn't work, did it? Now normal op fire. 1 plus 1 is adjacent firepower. I tried to fire that unit first, so I needed a morale check. Okay, so 1 plus 1 adjacent, firepower of 2, plus 3 for adjacents as well, minus 2. I need a 3, effectively. Roll an 8. Your shot of firepower 5, so now we do the shot that he said we'd do. Firepower 5 plus 3 for adjacent. Takes it to 8, minus 1 for the woods is 7. He rolls a 9. He actually missed. And he said, might as well do my third activation, which was moving the squad into this building here, which also gives me options to shoot. Just go. So we'll try to fire my conscripts. That squad is actually in that building there. They need, their morale is 5. Morale of 5, they fire. I rolled a 5. So then it's firepower 1. Again, you look at the 1 there. Plus 1 for it being adjacent. That increases their, right, so this is where I've got to explain what we're talking about. So their proficiency firepower is 1. If the enemy is adjacent, that increases their proficiency firepower to 2. No matter what other gains you get to your proficiency firepower, it can never be more than their inherent firepower, which is 4. So they're at 2. Then, because they're marked with op fire, that also increases their proficiency firepower. It's now 3. Still not more than 4. Then you actually get plus 3 for adjacency as well. It's like the hand grenades and such forth. So that takes them to 6, which is, so the first lot up to 3 is not allowed to go above 4. Then any other modifiers after that are the modifiers to the roll. So it's got a firepower proficiency at the moment of 3. Then he's adding 3 for adjacency, which takes it to 6, and then minus 2 for the stone building the enemy are in. So that equals 4. Roll to 1. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, which little smart, as it's adjacent, they are reduced and fully suppressed. As he says, if I'm unsuppressed, I enter to melee. Yeah, you are fully suppressed. I will try to get them to fire instead. The morale is 1. They need a 1. They roll a 5. They fail to fire. If not, I attempt to assault fire the adjacent squad. As he said, we've just resolved that for him. Just tried and failed. So then it was my T-26's time to activate, which is this bad boy up here. Okay. So he's moving. Again, I'm trying to keep away from his anti-tank guns. So then I say try and fire at weapon team these bad boys here. And I need a 1. Because of that proficiency. They roll an 8. Nah, not going to hit. Okay, then I decided to move some more infantry, trying to get them into the buildings. Okay, little mad dash there. Okay, there's 2 movement points for buildings and woods, so that's his 5. 2, 4, 5. Okay, and then passing it back. then because of the nature of the way the log files, he's now firing at my team, sorry, my squad that run across with his weapon team that's stuck at the back here, all the way to there. Okay, so it's affecting that unit. So does he still get there? Let's have a look. He says, let's fire. The German is firing from there with a straight rolls. Needs a 7. He rolled a 9, so he failed. So that squad did get to that location. And then we go back over the other unit, move. And back to you, as I said to him on this, was actually, well, this didn't go well, did it? I'm completely outnumbered. Yeah, you're outnumbered. But again, will the German quality pull through? He's doing some more firing. Where is he firing? Hold on there. Let's backtrack that. He fired this little pack gun here. Had no effect on my infantry in the building, as you would expect. Okay. The effect roll was 3, which is suppression. Okay. So what's happening now? More of my infantry moving up, or trying to get in there. Marking some for op fire, which is happening down here. And trying to move some infantry across. Now I'm checking for concealment. If he can see this unit, he can't gain concealment. And he can. So he can't. Okay. Line of sight exists, no concealment gain. Okay. The German now fires from this guy here to this target here. Okay. He rolled a 3. That's good enough. Makes my guy fully suppressed. Marks him used, and now this guy moves forward now that they've been fully suppressed. So I would need a 1 for that unit to be able to fire. And jumps in. You may attempt to op fire. Possibly spending a CP, so I better pause here. Yeah. So I attempt to fire and fire. Requires a 1 morale, roll a 7. So they went, nah. Passing back. So his guys are in melee there with me. Now he's moving his last squad, which is these boys here. 2, 3, 4, 5. And he's going to attempt to fire there, but I can do something here. Let's see what I do. Okay. An assault fire if he makes it, and then he's done for the turn. So this is where I do a lot of things, and I forgot to start the log file. So you're going to see a lot of text come up now. So I'll copy all the text, and you have the results via axe. Remember, the axe is keeping track of the die rolls, and this is the physical log. So this is what happens. As you can see, there's a lot of information there. So I will try and final op fire with the weapon team. Okay, first they roll 1, so are keen to fire. Final protective fire of 5 plus 1. Because he's moving adjacent, they can get a final protective fire. Okay, 5 plus 1 for adjacent equals 6. Then plus another 3 for adjacent, plus 1 more for moving in the open. Then minus 2 for final op fire equals 11. Roll is an 8, which is suppression. So it is high. That's because, so let's go through that. So his final protective fire value is 5. Okay. He gets that plus 1, because it's adjacent, is 6. Then, that's his final protective fire value. Then he gets plus 3 again for adjacent, that takes him to 9. Plus more for moving in the open, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then because it is a final op fire, minus 2 takes it to 11. Okay, so I roll a d10. Roll is 8, which is suppression. If I'd rolled a 2 or 3 or something like that, I would have eliminated that guy. But that's the risk of moving in the open. Roll is 8, which is suppression. This German squad gets suppressed. Okay. He then says he wants to assault fire so far. Your roller is able to fire. Roller's 3, so yes, they can fire because they were suppressed. And morale is 6. Okay, so his morale, his fire value is 5, plus 1 adjacent equals 6, then plus 3 for adjacency, 7, 8, 9. Minus 2 for building, needs 7 required, roll 2, which casualty reduces my and fully suppresses my weapon team. Bit rude, but there we go. There you go. Okay. Then route phase, which you need to do first. As you still have 2 CP, I will pass back to you. And that's because I then realised I hadn't been having the log running. So in the route phase part of the turn, the person who has the initiative, which is the Germans in this, have to test their units first. So he's made a declaration because he's in the open here, and here. Within 5 hexes of enemy, they must test morale, but their morale is written on the counter there is 10, so it's an auto pass. Okay, that guy there is suppressed and adjacent to an enemy, so he has to pass a morale check, and his morale is 1. That guy there, these other checks, I may use a CP on the yellow suppression. That should be marked as a yellow. Don't know why it's not, but he was suppressed there, so there we go. Let's keep that up to date. So on that unit there, he needs a 1 to pass. Missed by 8. He's dead. Moving along, that one unit needs a 1 to pass. Miss. Dead. That guy in the yellow one passes. So he's fine. Now my checks. Soviet route checks. Okay. My unit in melee. Got to test the unit in melee. So this is not going to be good. Rolls a 10. So is eliminated. All right, my fully suppressed weapon team, which is this dude here. No, my fully suppressed weapon team, that's that dude there. Okay. Rolls an 8, which would eliminate. We'll use my CP to re-roll. I can use a command point to re-roll that. Roll of a 7, so eliminates. Oh. Okay, I thought we were testing that unit. Obviously, we're testing that unit. Oh, no, we're testing that unit. Yeah, didn't have to test that one. He's got no unit adjacent to him, whereas he did. He wasn't fully suppressed, but it doesn't matter. He still failed in both cases. Right, then it's the melee phase. There is none, because the melee that was going to occur, my guy died. And that means we go into turn 6, which will be in the next video. Okay, let's go back up to the top and discuss what's going on. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That's turn 5. I'll say the next video will be turn 6, maybe 7, depending on how long it goes. So you can see it's quick in the sense of units which can't, it's not like ASL where units route and can do convoluted things. If they're adjacent to an enemy and fail, they're out of action. If you're in melee and fail, you're out of action. Tank combat, quick, bang, boom, gone. And no records littering the battlefield and causing about an extra 5 pages of rules. Band of Brothers has it's expanded a bit since when I first started playing this, but even now with the Pacific, this set of rules has got 36 pages. I had a comment from a friend of mine the other day who thought that the infantry representation in here is excellent. However, he finds the armour a bit bland. I tend to disagree. I find the armour with their proficiency rating quite interesting as well. Soviets with their very low proficiency rating pretty much can move, stop, shoot, move, stop, shoot, and try and get. Whereas Germans with a high proficiency rating can move, quickly shoot, and then carry on moving again. Not in the same turn, but a lot more effectively than what the Russians can. Anyway, that gets to the end of this, and so I'm catching up. Eventually, I will finish this this game and then move on to the following on, which is scenario 69. It's called what? Hold on, I've got the book here. Tarongo Station. There we go. That's going to appear straight, but yeah, interesting little scenario in its own right. It's got snow, it's got tank riders, it's got off-board artillery, it's got Stukas, it's got the works. So yeah, until next time, if you can remember, give the video a thumbs up if you're still here and watching. Any comments will be much appreciated. If you enjoy what I do, please subscribe to the channel. If you would like to join the channel as a member, links down below. If you'd just like to show your appreciation in another way or format, you could do a super thanks as well. But until next time, play games, have fun. Bye, Internet.